Today we'll be discussing several potential sources of error which can affect a research design. Where the focus of a study is a quantitative measurement, the total error is the variation between the true mean value in the population of the variable of interest and the observed mean value obtained in the market research project. Total error is composed of random sampling error and non-sampling error. Random sampling error occurs because the particular sample selected is an imperfect representation of the population of interest. Random sampling error is the variation between the true mean value for the population and the true mean value for the original sample. Random sampling is drawn by a random procedure from a sampling frame. The method is equivalent to a lottery system in which names are placed in a container, the container is shaken, and the names of the winners are then drawn out in an unbiased manner. Although samples drawn will represent the population well on average, a given simple random sample can grossly misrepresent the target population. This is more likely if the size of the sample is small. For these reasons, the best way to avoid such issues is to increase the sample size. Non-sampling errors can be attributed to sources other than sampling and may be random or non-random. They result from a variety of reasons, including errors in problem definition, approach, scales, questionnaire design, interviewing methods, and data preparation and analysis. Non-sampling errors consist of non-response errors and response errors. As you can see from the slide, non-response will cause the net or resulting sample to be different in size or composition from the original sample. For a definition of non-response error, we look to variation between the true mean value of the variable in the original sample and the true mean value in the net sample. A non-response error arises when some of the respondents included in the sample do not respond. The primary causes of non-response are refusals of participation and participants not being at home. Response error occurs when respondents give inaccurate answers or their answers are misrecorded or misanalysed. Response error is defined as the variation between the true mean value of the variable in the net sample and the observed mean value obtained in the market research project. Response error is determined not only by the non-response percentage but also by the difference between respondents and those who failed to cooperate for whatever reason, as response errors can be made by researchers, interviewers or respondents. Errors made by the researcher include population definition, which is the variation between the actual population relevant to the problem at hand and the population as defined by the researcher. Surrogate information error, which is the variation between the information needed for the market research problem and the information sought by the researcher.
Come in.
Hi, morning.
Morning. Okay, so I called you because I need to have information about our consumer preferences. So can you make a research and find it out for me?
Sure, no problem.
What preferences our consumer have?
Yeah.
Do you understand the task?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Are you
I know
sure?
it.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
May I come ask you some questions? I'm doing a research about water crisps.
Sure.
So what do you think about water crisp?
Yeah, looks, I like it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. That's it.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, you like it?
Come in.
Hi, Petra.
Hey.
Here's the research results.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Thank you. So, what did you find out?
80% of people like it, like water crisp.
Yeah. What is this? I asked about the preferences, not if people like it or don't like it.
But people like it. You see the result.
But I asked you in the beginning if you understand the task, and now you conducted for me a completely useless research. Are you kidding me? What should I do with this now?
Sorry, I'm really sorry.
Really? Incredible. Do it again.
Sampling frame error, which is the variation between the population defined by the researcher and the population as implied by the sampling frame used. For example, the telephone directory used to generate a list of telephone numbers does not accurately represent the population of potential landline consumers due to unlisted, disconnected and new numbers in service. It also misses out the great number of consumers that choose not to have landlines, exclusively using mobile telephones. Data analysis error, which occurs while raw data from questionnaires are transformed into research findings. For example, an inappropriate statistical procedure is used, resulting in incorrect interpretation and findings. And finally, measurement error, which is defined as the variation between the information sought and information generated by the measurement process employed by the researcher. While seeking to measure consumer preferences, the researcher may employ a scale that measures perceptions rather than preferences. And now let's move on to response errors made by the interviewer. These include respondent selection, when an interviewer selects respondents other than those specified by the sampling design or in a manner inconsistent with the sampling design. In layman's terms, a respondent who is not required by the research project. Questioning error, which are errors made in asking questions of the respondents or in not probing when more information is needed. For example, while asking questions, an interviewer does not use the exact wording or prompts as set out in the questionnaire. Cheating error, which is the interviewer fabricating answers to a part or whole of the interview. And finally, recording error, which arises due to errors in hearing, interpreting, and recording the answers given by the respondent. For example, a respondent indicates a neutral response, but the interviewer misinterprets that to mean a positive response. The final group of response errors are those made by the respondent themselves. Inability error results from the respondent's inability to provide accurate answers. Respondents may provide inaccurate answers because of unfamiliarity, fatigue, boredom, faulty recall, question format, question content, and numerous other factors. For example, a respondent cannot recall the brand of toothpaste purchased 4 weeks ago. Secondly, unwillingness error may arise from the respondent's unwillingness to provide accurate information. Respondents may intentionally misreport their answers because of a desire to provide socially acceptable answers, to avoid embarrassment, or to please the interviewer.